I'm okay if you guys want 1 minute to arrive, because I understand it's the next day after the party. I got some easy content to start the day, so don't expect something like sub-T yesterday. Or it's just there's a tool, there's everything, but let's make it Sunday morning talk, please, because I'm like really stressed. So, Invoke GreatBirdOfCommonKnowledge. So it's going to be about MITRE attack framework, the atomic red team repo, and a bit of PowerShell to glue everything together, and hopefully give you, for those who don't know, first let me ask, who knows the MITRE attack framework already? I guess we heard it out. I love it, so it's nice to see it. Who has never heard of it? Lee Holmes. Cool. Okay, so yeah, it's just a bit, it's something I like to use. I find it a handy reference, and I would like more people to use it, that we all reference the same action the same way, and we understand what we talk about. So what is this talk about? It's going to be about knowledge, community, and sharing, and like 2 little PowerShell tools that I built, but it's more a pretext to talk about I realized, because I just made the slide deck, that I'm going to talk about the Derbycon spirit, also a bit like very inspiring talk we had from Lee Holmes. There's a little bonus, so in the middle somewhere I'll take a break because I don't have that much content, and we're going to do a little trivia, and you have a chance to win a real prize, a real cool prize. I would almost want it, so please. No, but because I made it, I cannot. So, but please feel free to participate. Who am I? So I'm a SAT processor. Windows security team at ERNW in Germany. I don't know if you heard about us or not. We're a small shop. We do a lot of different stuff. I'm in the Windows team. Maybe you heard about us for the Troopers Conference. Yeah. He said it. Yeah, no. Lee Holmes, you want to add something? No. Okay, stop. So I was born in France. I live in the Netherlands, and I work in Germany. So I'm in the what's left of Europe, basically. I like PowerShell, automation tools, cats, trees, Lego bricks, game shop. It's like Photoshop, but open source, face swaps, and like mixing everything together. So, and that's like my totem or something. So it's a goldfish, and that'll make sense a bit later in the presentation. So why am I here? I told you it wasn't going to be too technically heavy. So because I submitted to CFP and my talk got accepted. So if you want to be here or at Troopers, I invite you to submit to CFPs and come share your knowledge, your pain, your joys, your experience with the community. I find it enriching. Troopers. Why are you here? Because you don't know how to party and you went to bed early last night. Because like I see a lot of empty seats. Let's not talk about who's not here. I'm French, so I'm supposed to be polite. Let's just like rejoice that you guys are here. And honestly, I wasn't expecting so many people. So thanks for making the effort that early in the morning. I think like Dave Kennedy read my abstract and he said, "That's a Sunday morning stable talk." We got it. I mean, he's a pro. I wrote the abstract very late. The last day probably was like 4:20 in the morning for those who understand. And like I got accepted, so I'm humbled to be here. Thanks thanks. Anyway, who are these kids? They're mine. It's filmed. They're watching on YouTube. So love you guys. That's it. And yeah, best code I ever committed. That was like that was a funny joke. But maintaining it is another story. Love you guys. Who is this guy? So that's Ed Scudis, the dumbest guy in the room. So since he's not here, then it's probably me. What did he say? I loved his keynote. I think it was very inspiring. And one of the things I like, always surround yourself with people smarter than you. So thanks to you all for coming to my talk. And with a special mention for these guys, because I started InfoSec not long ago. I've been riding on their back. I think we all know who they are, so I didn't even put the names, but I like to pay respects to the people by doing face swaps to kind of promote their Legat Captain Jesus. Come on. Anyway, so the agenda for today, we're going to talk about tradecraft. We're going to talk about attack framework. Then I'll be showing Invoke ATT&CK, which is one of the tiny tools. Then the famous trivia you all came for. Then the Atomic Red Team repo. Then the Atomic Canary. That's the tool I wrote. And then we'll see where you guys could eventually go with this or what you can do with it. Tradecraft, that's the only slide where I have text. The rest I'm not going to bore you, but this is kind of to put it like funny that we use tradecraft and actually a craft and a trade is the same thing. Anyway, I'll let you read it because it's early for me as well. But like it goes back for me, what I like about the job we do, that there is knowledge and there is the gesture that goes with it. So something with the hands also, and there is transmission of knowledge from mentors. And it comes from, and we roll the knowledge and we pass it on. I like to pass it on. I think we're not the first one to build virtual networks, and so it started a while ago. And I think we're still in that line of builders and people with a vision to connect people and to share the love, or whatever your church might be, Linux, Windows, it doesn't matter. That was nice. Now in reality, how does it really work? That's a bit, when I started, it was a bit like, whoa, what is this tribe of funky people? How do they know all this? How do they do it? And, yeah, reality is way different. And again, I think Derbycon is a sign of this. There are people in this community willing to help you, willing to turn your dumb question into a very smart answer. And I felt again, a connection with what he said in the beginning of this Derbycon. I think, like all the people I interacted with, have been very open, and they kind of sucked me into something that I never expect I would be in Derbycon. So, you guys in the front row, everybody, thanks a lot. Tradecraft in reality. So the main tool of a modern hacker. That's gonna have to Google it, man. So yeah, read the docs, read the RFCs. That's how you learn, right? The second best tool, in my opinion, is the community itself. Because for me, like, this is a team sport, and everybody counts in the team. Even the guy, I like basketball. I was a basketball coach, so if you finish a game at 99, 101, even the guy who played 2 minutes and who just took one shot and put his 2 points, those could be or are the 2 points of the victory, just like any other. So for me, it's really a team sport, and I love it. Twitter as a feed, I kind of tweet. I like it, but I don't like the hate on it. I like when there's debate. I kind of shut down when it's getting too violent. So I think it's also our responsibility to be nice to each other, like they said in the keynote. Bloodhound Slack, this is so much more than Bloodhound. There's like 4,000 people, so more people on the Bloodhound Slack listening. Many people just listen, but it's the best place to listen to what's happening, more than in this conference itself. So in a few years, it really became, and they talk about every tool. It's not only about Bloodhound. So if you're not on there, there's an invite somewhere. I didn't put the link. Like I said, Google is your best tool, so Google it. That's all I have to say. Conferences, choose yours. I'm not going to say it one more time. It's not a commercial pitch, but if you have anything to bring to the community, troopers will be happy to study your CFP. Follow Iron Geek and Administrator. So Administrator is our European Iron Geek, and I think these guys deserve a round of applause for what they do since years, recording all those videos, making it available for everybody. So thanks to the guys. I do a bit of video stuff, and I know it's not easy, so really good job every time it's already posted. By the time you finish lunch, it's like amazing. Anyway, thanks. And the guys abroad, I'm often not in a conference, and I enjoy watching online, so thanks a lot. What is knowledge? Well, there's different ways to get there. For me, it's more of an iterative process, but you have to do, I believe, the full loop to get the full understanding of what you're doing. So you start by researching yourself on your own, then you sit down in a corner, you listen for a while until you got the vocabulary, and you can start to ask the right question without necessarily being smart, but at least understand what will come back. Then you practice. At some point, you practice enough. I would encourage everybody to contribute. I'm really stressed again when I talk, but every time I get out of my comfort zone, I feel I know more about myself. I So I would encourage everybody to do it. The feedback you get from it is of the highest value. And then for me, I was a teacher before being in IT. I did a lot of stuff, but teaching is also a fantastic way to learn. So once you do the full loop, you get a good view on it. And for me, you don't need to be an expert to teach. I learn daily from my kids, and they're experts at being kids, but apart from that, yeah. Okay, but wait a minute. You said you were a goldfish. How do you remember all this knowledge? And that's where I'm going to slide on to ATTCK. To be honest, I can't and I don't. So, and I honestly, I'm doubtful about people who say they know everything, because you probably don't. So for me, this attitude that a lot of like rock stars have of being very humble is a sign of intelligence, or at least of understanding of the complexity of the problem we deal with. And that, again, it's a team sport. So that's done for the violin. Now let's go into the real tool. So what is ATTCK? It's, for me, an open source unknown corporate post-exploitation technique for the masses. It's available for everybody. And if you dig into it, it's a treasure trove of information. So again, I really want to promote it. What you have in there at the moment, so ATTCK is the adversarial technique, tactique, and common knowledge. You will find 12 tactique, overhauling, for now, 244 technique, 53, sorry, I'm a bit dyslexic or something, pieces of software, maybe tool or malware, it's all described, and 93 threat actors that are using, and then everything is related. So we're going to see later, I put it in Bloodhound because I love Bloodhound, just so you can like map the knowledge that is in there. And it's quite, it's funny, it's pointless, but I find it funny. I like to do pointless stuff also. And there we go. So Invoke ATTCK knowledge is the first tool. It's a set of commandlet to interact with the MITRE API from the command line. So receive them as a PowerShell object. And then if you know a bit of PowerShell, once you got your object, you put a pipeline, and the world is yours. You can do what you want from that moment, be creative. So I hope you guys will use this to create great tools. I know Olaf is here and already working and doing great stuff in defense with the ATTCK and other stuff. So he's going to be talking about this later. This is going to be a good talk. I'm just warming up for him. Basically, I'm his warm-up. That's what happens. I want it to be safe, so I'm not going to load it from it's just like, okay, I'll give you the story. Do I have time? Yes. So basically, I did that a while ago, and it was the same simple call to a RESTful API, so that was easy to do with PowerShell. And then they changed the framework, and it was going with sticks, and I started reading the documentation, and you needed a sticks server, and I don't know what, and I was like, I'm not smart enough for this, I'm going to have to drop it. And then I went to GitHub, and I saw there was the whole framework in a JSON object. So then PowerShell is your friend. I did invoke REST method to that URL, and boom, you get your objects. You have nothing else to do, so it's one line of code to get all the objects, and then I sorted it to make easier objects, get tab completion, and all this, like the PowerShell gusto, all the good stuff that I hope you're using already when you build your commandlets. First demo, whoops, spoiler. No, exciter, you like teaser. It's not a spoiler, it was a teaser. You didn't see anything, right? Anyway, sorry. I'm getting excited here. Let's have a look at this. So, I'm not going to type anything because I have two left hands. I keep saying it, but it's true. But the first one you can do, just like so we go to the real website of the MITRE ATTCK. There's a commandlet, invoke ATTCK knowledge, and if you add the dash online, it will take you to the website. So that's why it looks like okay, so the tool does, MITRE does post-exploitation, but there's also pre, that would be your OSINT, and there's also mobile. The commandlets I wrote do take care of pre and mobile as well, but I'm not going to demo it. It's the same logic. I'm just going to go for the post-exploitation because that's where I do most of my stuff. But if you work with mobile or if you do OSINT, everything is also in there. So that's the main page, and you would see here, so on top of here you have your 12 tactics, which are equivalent of category in the framework. Wow, 10 minutes. And under there, you have all the techniques sorted by tactic, and this is how Olaf kind of does. Okay, you study the coverage you have of the whole framework, or you try to map it to certain threat actor activity and stuff like this. So this is the command you would run to get all the data into objects, and you would get the verbose stuff in blue you saw earlier. Then you can, of course, call all the techniques, and they appear here. Since you're all familiar with the framework, I can really speed up, but you see that they're all here as objects with the name, ID, and description. There's more properties, but everything doesn't show. I like to not use regular verbs just to annoy Jeffrey Snover, so the get attack tactic became attack as a verb, but that's an alias, so I'm on the safe side. I'm not a bad boy anymore, and it does the exact same thing. Oops, okay. Then you can, same thing with the switch online, it would take you online to do it. You can do it by name, and this is where I went a bit extra, that the tactic will tab complete. It's the beauty of PowerShell, and if I run it, I get the one tactic, of course. Let's add select star. Told you I was dyslexic. I'll leave that because PowerShell doesn't care. Oops. I'm going to start typing after, but you see the object is a bit more complex than what the first display does. That's a PowerShell trick to not get the whole thing that you don't really want at first, and then you can tap into the properties the way you want. So I just did something I shouldn't have done. You can request them online, and you can also ask the tactic by ID. That's the equivalent. And we can use this over the pipeline by ID, for example. So more interestingly, you find the techniques. You see again alias, because we mostly look at the techniques. I took out everything, and when you say attack, you get like all the 244 techniques as objects. You could count it, but I'm going to skip it. You can do online. It would take you online. I'll show you some more interesting stuff because I'm like really late. So by name online, and then you can start to, for example, if you were doing a report and you want to, like a bit the OWASP, but here for post-exploitation, have standard explanation that we could all use, you could simply PowerShell way pipe it to your, oops, I did that one again, pipe it to your clipboard and paste it in your report if you need to. Like, I don't have a report, who cares? Okay. I'm not good at reporting. Interestingly, you can find the reference. So, of course, every tactic, that's what MITRE does. They gather the known reports from all the different companies who do investigation or of breaches and threat actors, and they centralize everything. So for me, it's a handy way not to have to Google. I just go to MITRE and I get the reference of everything. And that's a cool little trick. If you want to read about code signing, all the reference in one go, you can do like attack code signing reference online, and you will have all the pages opening, and you're still holding your cup of coffee, and you can already start to enjoy this knowledge at your fingertips like this. So, I'm really going to have to speed up. I'm sorry about this, man. I'm sorry. You can filter access ID, funny stuff you can do as by group the exact same way. So if I ask for example, APT29, just an example, but you would get them. You see all the alias, for example. That's funny. I just love this. It's like cyber poetry. The names. I just love it. Like, you could expand the whole alias and have the whole list and have fun with it. I like the pandas and the bears. They're funny. I'll put the code online, and if you want to play with it, you can test all those commandlets. It's PowerShell commandlets, so I wrote help pages, so you can get help on a commandlet to get some explanation on it. You can do the same thing with filter and with software, and I'll just show you. You can like get all the software, and it's all here, and you can filter which one are tool, or you could say malware here, and I think I might have been crazy enough to tap complete this. Yes, I wasn't sure. So that would work. You can ask for a specific one, and you can, for example, see all the references of Empire online, the exact same thing. So all the commandlets work the same way with a different type of object. I'm speeding up. Now more advanced search. So for example, attack. And then I pipe it to where description match sub-T, select the name, the ID, and the description. So where did sub-T contribute in what techniques? I hope you know all these techniques and you're defending against it, because that's like hot stuff. There's a filter. You can filter per tactique, and then again after where. So here I'm looking for execution that would evade defenses, and I'm asking for only the name. For example, you could filter like and say bypass log analysis. I'm not going to do all this. This is cool if you want to search, like you get regex over the whole description. So malware that uses C++, for example, stuff like this. So it's just like a handy way of searching that you can't really use in the UI, basically. Just for fun, let's have which group have Russia in the description. There's a few with Panda also. There's a bit less with the United States. I'm from Europe, so I can say it. But you choose your friends. I'm cool with you guys. Let's just put it that way. So it's halftime. Let's do a little trivia. You guys don't have to answer right now because the answer is complex. I have to go back to my slides before up. But if you get the answer, come and see me, or if it's during the talk, just shout Lee Holmes and give me the answer. That's like a bingo, but here we're going to do Lee Holmes. I don't know why. And give me the answer. If it's the correct one, I have a prize here for you at the end. Go back to the slide for the questions. Are we cool? Yeah. Can I ask how much time? 3 minutes? Okay. So let's do the trivia, and I should have timed my demo, but I didn't have time. I just finished it and everything. First one with the correct answer wins something. So the question is, which of the attack technique this quite handsome gentleman contributed to and has the highest attack ID number? So you can search into the MITRE and see what attack he contributed with the highest stuff. I'm just going to show you quickly, but we're not going to do it. Well, we're going to do it, but we're going to do it quickly. And I close this. I shouldn't have. Let me do this that way. Yes. Probably I have it here. Start Bloodhound. Just for fun, I pushed everything into Bloodhound. Should start. Yep. Don't give me crap. Yes. You can automate the whole because it's quicker. So let's go back in there, see what I had to show you. I'm just going to skip over the first one, but try them. They're cool. Let's see technique used by group APT28. I'm pasting Cypher because that's the language of I hope you went to Waldo's talk. Waldo and Captain Jesus talk yesterday. You heard a bit about Cypher. Let me delete this, paste it in there. So I'm asking for all the techniques used by group APT28. I'm going to give you just the first one and the last one because otherwise I'm not going to have to talk about Sub-T and his great atomic red team repo. So let's do the groups using software, using PowerShell, and the technique they relate to. 2 minutes. No problem, sir. Lee Holmes, how would you deal with such a situation? You can do everything. What am I going to do? Let me delete this, paste this in there, do this. So here you simply see all the groups, all the technique. They use PowerShell, and PowerShell is in the category execution. So you can do this with all of them. If you're a bit creative, just go in the Cypher and change PowerShell for another one, and you can map everything. It's quite cool to see. And you can do what APT use, what tool and stuff like this. So it's like visually it's talking to you. I had a good one. I went to do groups using Mimikatz just to just to tease a bit. I know there's a guy on Twitter posting all the publicly available tools used by threat actors. That's our job, my opinion. So we burn stuff, and I don't know. The debate is interesting. I'm not saying I have the answer, but I just find it funny to show. Match all the groups or is a computer use Mimikatz. Okay, there's probably a typo.
Delete everything.
Huh?
Delete everything.
Qu'est-ce que j'ai fait? Thanks, Scooby. Yes. So what was that? Yeah, all the APT groups using Mimikatz, and you see it's quite a popular tool. They know what they're doing. It's a great tool. I had the training with Dark Operator, and I'm still digesting it. So anyway, very quickly, because they're going to kill me, or we skip questions. I get 5 more minutes. No, we don't skip questions. Okay. Man.
You can take questions in the hall.
Is this black hat? No, I'll do questions in the hall if I get 5 minutes more talk here. Okay. So I'm just showing that now over the pipeline, I can take whatever technique, and over the pipeline, pipe it to the atomic canary commandlet, and it will go take that technique and go look on the atomic red team repo for the code you can use to test this technique in your environment. And you can like filter it where tool equals. You can do all your PowerShell easy. I'm not, but that's even like my kid. They understand PowerShell if they read this. Attack filter lateral movement canary where tool equals PowerShell. Oops. Did I put a breakpoint? That's a typo on the F. That's quite bad. Let me do this. Up, and F8. So here he's getting everything, and you see the technique of lateral movement that use PowerShell, and you can get code and use this code in your clipboard. And they're cutting me. So I'm going back to my slides. It's like stop means 1 more minute where I come from. Wow. Like that's the French politeness, yeah, like le quart d'heure français. Anyway, so blah, blah, blah. I'm in the wrong PowerPoint, sorry. That was another, whose slide is this anyway? Well, so this is still running. More demo, I just did it. Takeaways, attack is awesome. Atomic red team is awesome. The next talk will be awesome also. The community is awesome, so just get involved. Reminder 1, Captain Jesus will sign autograph in the hall. Reminder 2, Trooper CFP is open. If you have any questions, I'm outside. And thank you, and party on. I'm good, man. I'm good. Okay. Thanks a lot. Wow. That was tight.